And Republican strategist and director of the group Haley Voters for Harris, Craig Snyder, joins us now. He's also the author of the new political thriller Guile, and he was the chief of state to the late Pennsylvania Senator Arlen Specter. Thank you so much for joining us. So we saw there from the numbers just how vital the state you're so familiar with will be in this close election. Kamala Harris was in two counties that former President Donald Trump won in both 2016 and 2020. So why would Harris bother spending time and resources there, do you think?
Well, the centrality of Pennsylvania in the way that you just described in the lead-in, the fact that it's almost certainly going to be the tipping point for which of these candidates becomes president, makes it necessary to really try to persuade voters, try to motivate voters all over the state. The counties that she went to this time on this last visit are not the most fertile place for her to pick up new votes. But she needs to pick up every new vote she can all across the Commonwealth. We have 67 counties. I suspect we're going to see both candidates in, at least 20 of those 67 where the population is higher between now and the election. They are going to have to really make this a game of inches.
All right. So among some of the issues that are important in Pennsylvania, fracking chief among them, something Kamala Harris ran against in her first campaign for the White House 5 years ago, but then she supported it since as vice president. Here's Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman.
She's not going to ban fracking, and I know she's very supportive of the energy industry as well. But fracking is an issue, but it's not a defining issue. And it's going to be a gut check kind of a thing. And a majority of people will decide that they want 4 years of a Donald Trump kind of chaos and debasement, or did you want a new way forward like that's Harris?
All right. So is he right? Is fracking, going to be a decisive issue here, or not a decisive issue, rather, just one among many?
I think the senator has it exactly right. There are issues much larger than fracking in Pennsylvania, even to the communities most impacted by energy as well. Look, let me put it this way: if the vice president was against fracking, wanted to ban fracking, that could be a decisively negative issue for her, given a close election. But she's not. That position is something that she took 5 years ago. She changed the position as vice president. She actually cast the critical tie-breaking vote for the bill that dramatically increased the amount of domestic energy production in the United States. We are now at an all-time high. And so in that context, in the context, I would say, of the actual facts, not what's being presented by the Trump campaign, but the factual context, it's not a decisive issue. People are going to vote on really exactly as the senator said, the path they want forward for the country. This is a fork in the road kind of moment. These two candidates reflect very different visions and very different philosophies.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about
part of it.
Yeah, let me ask you about Donald Trump, because you talk about certainly different philosophies. Donald Trump was in Las Vegas, hoping his promise not to tax tips will play well. Presumably, if you were in the business of advising their campaign, you'd say more economy, less cats. I mean, he's been calling for mass deportations in Springfield, hanging around with far-right figures like Laura Loomer. I mean, he seems to be running an even more extreme campaign than he was last time.
I think you're right. Look, I think that the two campaigns have very different strategies, and obviously we'll see what ultimately happens on November the 5th. But the one campaign, the Trump campaign, has doubled down on mobilizing their base, what they consider to be their people, trying to get people to vote maybe who haven't voted before, who are supporters of Trump, but not reaching out to anybody who doesn't really like Trump. The Harris campaign, on the other hand, is a coalition campaign with a broad spectrum of support that goes from Dick Cheney to Bernie Sanders. It's the largest, the most diverse coalition of supporters in any modern presidential campaign. So you have a coalition strategy on the one hand, and you have a mobilize the base strategy on the other. It's sort of like it's sort of like two languages being spoken.
Let me ask you about that coalition. One can guess from the name of the group that you're, campaigning for. Haley Voters for Harris. Your group wants to turn voters that voted for Nikki Haley to vote for Harris, but Haley herself has come out against this. She said, Kamala Harris and I are total opposites on every issue. Any attempt to use my name to support her or her agenda is deceptive and wrong. I support Donald Trump because he understands we need to make America strong, safe, and prosperous. So I just want to get your reaction to that, and also how you're hoping to influence this subset of Republicans who might, in the end, make a difference here.
Well, they certainly can make a difference. Again, to focus on Pennsylvania, 158,000 registered Republicans voted for Nikki Haley when in a state that was decided in 2020 by 80,000 votes, in 2016 by 40,000 votes. So this is a very large group of people that are up for grabs. They've already, and I'm one of them, by the way, so I'll say we have expressed our strong disapproval of Donald Trump. The question is whether or not you go to sort of the extra mile and you vote for the Democratic candidate for the vice president. We believe that many of those voters will do that because they want to clean out the scourge of Trumpism from the Republican Party, number one, and number two, because they see the vice president, they see what she's offering in this coalition campaign as being really in the center of American politics, not extreme left, but in the center of American politics. And they may not agree on every issue, but they can certainly find enough to agree on to join the coalition. The position of Governor Haley, it's fine. It's her personal view, and she's entitled to it. But her voters are not going to be dictated to. They're independent-minded people. They're going to decide for themselves what they think is better. And when she says that her and the vice president are opposite on every issue, it's just not true. It's just not factual. For example, Nikki Haley campaigned on support for Ukraine and really opposes Donald Trump's approach to pulling the United States out of NATO and other sort of quite radical foreign policy positions, whereas Vice President Harris is for